Look at this.
So many big boys. I can't contain myself, man.
How exciting.
I think we've got sound set up this time.
I hope so.
I think we do.
All right, guys, this is going to be great. What is this, number 168?
I thought
Hey,
you were
look at all
supposed
the
to
wonderful
know this.
people out
Hey.
there.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. All right, guys, somebody give me a countdown. The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. Further support is provided by Microengineering, keeping you on track with quality products for 55 years. Check out their website at www.microengineering.com. Order from your local dealer or order direct by calling 1-800-462-6975. And by Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week video podcast, number 168 for September 4th, 2021. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And tonight we've got a great show all about one amazing machine, and they're all over the table. Tonight I've got with me Auston Allard. Hey, Auston.
How's it going?
Dude, it's great to have you on the show, and you've been getting a lot of work done in your layout.
Sure have.
I love the way you're just almost full-time trains. I've got Sugar Fire, Joshua Barton.
What's up, everybody?
And you've got some amazing photographs that you're going to talk about tonight.
I sure do.
So rock and roll. This is going to be a good show. And look who we got. We've got Daniel not running camera tonight.
Hi, guys. How y'all doing? It's great to have a break once in a while.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Doug.
Doug Powell, right?
Howell.
Doug Howell.
Not
I messed
Craig
up your
Howell.
name on that last show, and I apologize for that very much, Doug. But thank you so much for running camera for us tonight.
And he's our security,
It's
too.
part of what we need to do. And yes, he is What's Neat This Week security. Yes, thank God we haven't needed him yet. He just sits in the chair the whole time. All right, so I want to talk about something very interesting, and this is a little off topic, but it correlates with the bicycle that we talked about on the show that my son had built that was electric, and I equated it to being a technology that the railroads could adapt to speeders. And tonight, I've got to tell you what, Tyler came home from college, and his dream was to be able to drive a Tesla for the weekend. So we got one of those test drives with this Tesla. And we also had a BMW on the premises because Michelle's car, I got hit by a deer the other day, so she got a BMW rental. And I would just want to talk about this amazing electric car. That Tesla was so amazing, so fast, so much torque, so quick, and it was silent. I can see now where I've heard that GE is building a prototype locomotive and it's going to be electric. So this will eventually be what we'll see in our hobby at some point.
That is true.
Where there'll be manufacturers making electric locomotives and stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, that BMW was the most well-engineered vehicle I've ever driven in my life. I've had Toyota Supras, I've had, Nissans, and you name it. Amazing machine, guys. And that's way off topic, so let's get back to what we're supposed to talk about tonight.
Right.
And that is, we've got all of these wonderful big boy locomotives on the table, and that is because the big boy locomotive was in St. Louis this weekend, and we've got a great interview coming up with Ed Dickens in the middle of this show. And I mean to tell you what an amazing, respected man he is.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Very humble,
Very.
yes.
Yes.
Yes, rock and roll. So, on the table tonight, we've got two big boys, and these are both 4014. One of them is a early run that I shot for Athearn for photography, and the other one is one that Daniel had brought tonight, which is a newer run. And I know Athearn also made a very shiny version of this, so it would look like the actual excursion big boy that's running right now. But yeah, these are two beautiful locomotives. I want to say on the center of the table, we've got, and this is great that we have the variety of this, the MTH. This is a 2009 die-cast run of the big boy locomotive. This is a very heavy locomotive, and we've run it on the layout, and it tracks magnificently. And I'll tell you what, this thing would pull easily 100 Intermountain PFE cars. This is just amazing. On the next HO scale model we've got is Joshua's, and that is a Broadway Limited, isn't it, Joshua?
It sure is, and it's got the scale trains tenders, the Joe Jordan and the Jim Adams that they are pulling as we speak.
Right.
And I mean, those are just magnificent.
nice.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful. Those are
And
scaletrains.com,
very
aren't
detailed.
they?
They
too.
are. And the Broadway Limited, it's great. It's over a pound. And I mean, it just pulls.
Is that
a
one
bunch.
also die-cast?
There
Should
are
be.
pieces, yes.
Wow, okay. So that's a very heavy locomotive,
And
too.
I had a little trouble with it when I first got it. I sent it to George at
Soundtracks.
Soundtracks.
Hey, George.
And he put all kinds of extra bells and whistles in there for me. So thanks, George. But it just runs like a top now. It's an amazing, amazing train.
Now, Steve Mantilla brought this beautiful O-scale model over tonight, and this one's for sale, guys. And this is, look at this big boy. Look at
Yeah.
that. Does that not
awesome.
belong on the mantle?
I was going to say
Yeah,
I kind of want it for
yeah.
mine.
I mean, wow. I'm speechless. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
the HO
is.
scale ones are cool, but to sit here and see this
I mean,
detail,
all this extra
reflecting in all
detail.
these lights right now.
Yeah.
I mean, even the coal load looks very believable. What an
does.
amazing model this is. And that is 3-rail, isn't it? That
Yes,
is a
3-rail.
Yeah.
Real scale.
So that's absolutely amazing. All right, so I filmed when we had the big boy. It was in for 3 days, right? And I didn't write down the dates that it was here.
August
We-
28th through the 30th.
30th.
Yep.
Yep.
and so it came up the tracks just across the river over here.
Chester
Chester
sub.
sub.
On the
Yeah.
Chester sub. And so I got out there with my binoculars, and we were tracking it on the UP Tracker website, and that was pretty accurate to within minutes.
Yeah.
And so I sat here with the binoculars and watched it come through Valmeyer, and I know
right.
that you're going to show us a clip of that up close. And you couldn't see it very clearly because, again, I'm zooming in with a zoom lens and a tripod sitting on the neighbor's top hill. So I'm at 650 feet elevation, and it's straight across to Illinois, which is exactly 3 miles away. But it was amazing to see this thing running with all the scenery around it. It could be Z-scale. It really could be. What a beautiful locomotive that was, and it was wonderful to sit on the hill and get this magnificent run by. Now, I think the next one we're going to go to is Daniel. Daniel shot a 24-second run by. Tell us about that.
So what I ended up doing, me and a friend decided after we shot it in Dupo, let's go to St. Louis side and try to catch it. And sure enough, we get there, so many dozen other rail fans. Josh, you were there. Our friend Mitch McAdams was there with a couple other people. Sat there, waited for 15 minutes, and just here it comes, right along slowly on that bridge. And I tell you what a magnificent sight that was. Then it'll be the first time in ever UP's history for that particular steam locomotive to come out of its regular run zone, out of the mountains and whatever, up to a Midwestern state like we were, and even across on the east side of the Mississippi to Illinois, and then just shoot right back to the west side of the Mississippi. Coming to St. Louis, like they said, backed it up the MacArthur Bridge once it had cleared in St. Louis to take it down to the Gateway Arch and make those shots. And I tell you what,
It was neat.
magnificent
It
photos
was.
those
It
were.
was.
Austin Allard's got 2 shots. This is where I filmed it in Illinois. He was over there at Valmeyer, Illinois, and that's 18 seconds. Tell us about your shot there.
Yeah, so we were a little further south than where Ken shot it. But we were kind of driving along and we were a couple hours early and didn't know where to pull over. And finally we saw this spot and it kind of backed up this embankment. Of course, the sun is on the west side of the tracks, so I'm backing up the embankment. Doug Howell backed his truck up next to mine, and I'm like, well, let's stand in the bed and grab a shot, because I figured once a train would come, everybody would be in the road or trying
Right.
to take
Pretty
pictures
much,
and walking
yeah.
around, so I knew had to get elevation without having a drone. So
Truck bed's the best way
But
to go
it
in, that,
took-
in that case.
it came and had perfect lighting, and it was
That's
a lot of fun. It was the
great.
first time I saw it Saturday.
I will tell you that when 3985 was in town, I stood on top of my excursion. I had the tripod up on the roof, so I was, and this is a lifted truck,
if you play
right?
the video long enough, and when I pan to the left, there's a guy standing on a van.
And it's a great
It's the
place
way to
be.
do it. It's the
Yeah.
way to do
This
it.
Yeah.
this excursion is lifted, so I'm at 6 feet, and the track is clear, and everything's perfect. I've got my shot lined up, and I was only shooting for a still photograph. I wanted the perfect still slide, is what I was shooting for, and sure enough, it gets time. It's minutes away, and all the people in front of me started lining up.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to go in Photoshop and take out every one of those people to get my shot back that I was so after. The second run by you've got, Austin, is where it went through Webster Groves.
Yeah, so it was coming out of St. Louis on Monday. We were fortunate enough to take off of work, and I chased it with my dad. And so here we see it at Webster Groves. It's actually coming uphill, coming into Kirkwood, so we definitely heard the chuff of the sound, and it sounded great. The lighting was good. As you can see in the video, there's a ton of other people there. you know, we had people coming across the track there at the grade crossing that are like, you know, hey, what's going on? It's like, it's been on the news, it's in the newspaper, you know.
Big
But
steam
they
engine's
still
coming.
didn't know.
Yeah.
And they would
Right.
pull over, find a spot, and watch it go by.
That is so cool, brother. What a great shot that was. I love
you.
watching that locomotive go by. Now, Joshua Barton, you've got some amazing photos you want to talk about.
I do. The first one I'm going to show is right in Fultz, Illinois. And these are 2 pictures when it came into Fultz. A horse rider named Jeremy Redding on his beautiful horse here, holding an American flag.
Wow.
And
That was
keeping
absolutely
pace.
incredible
shot.
footage.
And this is just a couple still shots. You can go on Facebook, and I'm sure you can find the video, which is absolutely breathtaking. The other video, or the other pictures I want to talk about, are after the big boy came into St. Louis. It backed up and backed onto the tracks right under the arch.
Right.
And there was a couple really good shots taken there, and here's a couple of them right here. And that's just breathtaking, you know.
Yeah, it was
I'm sure
amazing.
that'll never happen again, so these are once-in-a-lifetime pictures. You
That
know?
is absolutely true.
Yeah.
That
We
is
were
so
standing
amazing.
down on the, I believe it's the Tucker overpass, or maybe it's 12th Street. But I saw the Q and the Lou barbecue
Yeah.
billboard, so I took a shot of the big boy with the Q and the Lou billboard for Josh.
That's right, yeah. And
Thinking
I'll
of
be down
Josh.
there at Q and the Lou on October 1st through the 3rd, so come on
How
down
about
and
that?
check
That's
me
going to be a
out, all right?
celebration.
And then I got one more photo, and it's the back of the train.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah,
That is cool.
and it's
That is
it's,
cool.
it's the drum head, and it says "Past, Present, Future, Missouri 2021," which is our bicentennial.
Bicentennial. Yes,
So
it is.
it's very nice for them to put in. I'm sure they have something like that for every state they've been to.
I've got one photograph I want to show right here. Thank you, Campbell Rice. I'm putting the photographer's name on the bottom of the screen. Absolutely amazing. This photograph of the big boy parked with the arch, perfect positioning. It was just an absolutely beautiful shot. So thank you very much for letting us use that artwork on this show, because this is just an amazing event that we've just witnessed. Now what we want to do is we want to go out to where the big boy 4014 was parked down at Union Station, actually right at the Amtrak station. They had it all stretched out. I've got a video clip that will be in this interview showing all the wonderful people down there. It was an amazing experience. The weather was just right. It wasn't even
beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is I've got this interview with the amazing Ed Dickens. He is in charge of the Union Pacific STEAM program out in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And it's absolutely just, he's an amazing
Yes, he
man.
sure is.
He is.
Well spoken. I asked him a question that I thought was relevant to us modelers, and that was, please tell us about your passion for the hobby. And I'll tell you what, he does know what he's talking about. He is a model railroader, guys. And I don't think anybody's ever asked him that question. And the rest of the interview, let's just let it roll. So here I introduce Ed Dickens. For this segment of What's Neat, we're down here with 4014, and I've got Ed Dickens with me, the main engineer for the STEAM program for the Union Pacific Railroad. Ed, tell me about your passion for the hobby, because I know that you are also a model railroader.
Well, it's been a long time since I've done modeling, but when I was in grade school, I fell in love with the Rio Grande. And back, and this would be in the 1970s, we didn't have the SD40 T-2 off-the-shelf, beautiful models. And I've been out of it, so I don't even know what those are called, the Genesis or whatever that top of the line is.
Right, Athens going to be proud to hear that.
Oh yeah, we would have died for something like that. So we had to kit bash them.
Yes.
I remember the magazines at the time, Model Railroader. That was like the best thing that could happen to us. That's where we spent our money. My paper route money went toward modeling. You know, the ready to run, horn hook coupler, even the Tyco stuff. I just loved all that. The stuff that we have today that I see, and oftentimes we have requests for model companies to come evaluate the equipment and measure it and so they can duplicate it. I have a real appreciation for that, and I want to help them so they can make the locomotives as accurate. If you think about, they're willing to invest the time and effort in the tooling, and that's got to be expensive.
It is.
We want to help them come up with the best model that they can. We're always making little subtle changes to the locomotive, changes that we know model railroaders would be interested in.
Right.
Because there's kind of a rivet counting perfectionism with modeling, and we appreciate that. So there are sometimes we'll make a change and we'll want to keep it a little bit secret and wonder how long before somebody notices. Well, they notice right away. So that's just the attention to detail you guys have.
There's 7 manufacturers currently making the Big Boy locomotive, and that's just in HO scale. That doesn't count the ones in large scale. Trains USA and MTH did it in O scale. So many different scales. And the one thing that everybody has been doing is writing the chalked words Big Boy on the front of the locomotive. And we both know where that phrase came from, the Big Boy.
Sure. Yeah, that's a tribute to all of the people that worked during the industrial age, not just the individual who wrote it and the workers at Alco, but all locomotive manufacturers, all the designers, the draftspeople, everybody that did the work on the railroad, not just building the railroads, but maintaining the locomotives, operating them in every way. So that's a tribute. We still put it up there in chalk.
Yes.
And the rain will wash it off, and then we don't have a schedule on when we're going to put it back up. It's just kind of a fun way to pay tribute.
Absolutely.
Photographers like to keep track of it. The modelers will write it a little bit differently here and there, but it's become so much of the story of the Big Boy. It's something that people want to know, when are you going to write it up there?
Right.
Or so it's something that they enjoy photographing and kind of keeping track of that little detail.
Convey with me the feeling that the status of being the engineer of this locomotive is. Now, we remember Steve Lee from 8444, or at one time 844, and 3985, the Challenger locomotive. He also had that established position of being very famous. I knew his name and so many other people do. And now you followed those footsteps, and you've been with Union Pacific on the steam program, you said, for 17 years. Tell me how it feels to be of that stature.
Well, I think it's careful not to get swept into that, because it's not about, even though I really, in a heartfelt, I sincerely appreciate that name recognition, but there's so many people that go into making this locomotive work. You know, I think it's natural to look up into a locomotive like this, and you've got that big window, and it's easy to associate the individual sitting in the window, but I think there's a danger with that too, in that we fail to recognize all of the other people.
Yes.
And there are so many. Every member of the crew here who works tirelessly in performing all the important work. There's nobody more important or less important than everyone on this crew. A small crew, we have a very small crew compared to what the Steve Lee era enjoyed.
Right.
So we have to be very judicious about what we work on, how we work on it, make sure that our quality is absolutely the best. In everything that we do, all of the details, we're always dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But when you get to know the members of this crew, you'll see such a talented workforce.
Right.
And so many diverse talents that are necessary. You've got to wear different hats, and you've got to be willing to perform all the different functions to make this steam locomotive work.
Right.
So I enjoy that. It's fun to sign autographs, but I'm always grabbing everybody else on the crew with me and say, hey, get over here, get over here, get over here. And some of them are uncomfortable with the accolades and the spotlight. That's normal, I think. But it's also part of the job that people want to be able to tie a human side to this. And in this instance, for the time being, that falls to us.
Yes. Is there a word that can describe when you've got this magnificent machine open on the main line, you're doing full throttle, you're doing probably 80 miles an hour plus? Is there a word that can describe what you feel like at that moment?
Well, we don't do 80. We don't do much over 60 generally. But to your point, it's exhilarating. It's humbling. There's a lot of emotions, a lot of memories, and a lot of things that we all have during operations, depending on whether it's morning or evening, and the way the whistle sounds, the way that there's an ambiance when you go through a crowd of people. There's an aura that you can detect and you can feel, and you can feel that level of enthusiasm that they're sharing for the locomotive. And so from that standpoint, you're putting on a demonstration, you're putting on a show. So we sound the whistle very nice, repeatedly. We sound it in a certain cadence that evokes more emotion from people. So it's all just a really big connection You know, so to be able to do that, you know, we've all done it a long time, so there's a lot of experience here. And so when we operate the locomotive, we're very disciplined about every aspect of it. That pressure is maintained always at 300 pounds. We're very diligent about our fuel consumption, our water chemistry. Every aspect of that, there's this reverence about what we're doing.
Right.
Because we want to carry on the traditions. You know, there's been, we've had to fix a lot of equipment, and we've got equipment that doesn't run anymore. And so we don't want to get to that point to where we're repeating some of those conditions that resulted in this equipment not running. So we're just very careful about that. But back to your point about what it's like,
Yes.
it's a true honor and a privilege. It's a blessing to be a part of it. We don't ever lose sight of that, because this is the moment in time in which we're given this responsibility, and we want to do it right. We want people to go away with this experience, a very positive experience. We have materials that we give to people. Our interactions with people are very important and very personal.
Yes.
And that we want people to feel like that they've been that we're paying attention to them.
Right.
We don't want to miss people. You know, that's the things that we that I enjoy. I know the rest of the crew really enjoys that too. You know, they're able to interact with people, and sometimes you're able to see those people again along the way. That's always special. But it's the young children that have the passion for the steam locomotive that you know that you're impacting that moment in time for them.
Yes, forever a memory, and that's what leads into modeling. I always say it all the time, that this is the best hobby in the world, model railroading and rail fanning in general. And Ed, it's because of people just like you.
Well, thank you very much. It's a privilege for us, and having this locomotive, this iconic machine, and being the people that are the ones assigned to maintain it, to actually reacquire it and to rebuild it, is something from the beginning. You know, we set ourselves on a mission that we want to make sure and do everything as careful as we can.
Right.
When we maintain this locomotive, we don't have the luxury of having a roundhouse every night and having everything that the railroad had back when they kept these locomotives in operation.
Right.
So that means we've got to really be careful and diligent about everything, all the details, the grease, the oil, how we operate the locomotive, the speeds we operate it, the track in which we operate it over, how we operate it. I mean, every piece of this is a very well orchestrated, carefully choreographed plan that we set in motion. The majority of those planning details are my responsibility. So that brings everything together full circle, because knowing the logistics of everything allows me to fit this big giant piece of the puzzle into the rest of the railroad network.
Absolutely.
And be able to deliver this in product on a timely manner, on an efficient manner, and in a manner that's going to maximize our ability to deliver call it a return on investment, because that's really, at the end of the day, that's really what it is.
Absolutely. Ed, I want to thank you very much for this short portion of your time. I respect what you do, and it's the best hobby in the world. I keep saying it. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the time today.
That was an amazing video that we just saw. What do you guys think about it? I mean, what were your takes on it?
I think it was amazing how humble he is. And,
Yes.
Yep.
you know, with a responsibility like that, to have to keep people safe, keep his crew safe, but also, you know, it's a PR stunt for Union Pacific. So to be able to have the individual conversations and how much that means to him,
yes.
and the crew that goes and signs hats and calendars and, you know, 4014 plaques, I think it's incredible that they're very humble, and it's obvious they enjoy what they do, and they're very good at
And
it.
you see at every stop, he gets out and he talks to people for a
Yep.
few minutes. He is such a personable person.
He shakes hands and
Yeah, it's
pictures and everything. It's
it's
really nice to see.
amazing. I mean, the HR, you know,
They definitely have the right people running this program.
Definitely.
He was so well spoken, so professional, and to watch the people gather around him and want his autograph. And it wasn't like rock and roll fans. It was like you really respected this man's stature in that he works with such a good team. And it's not like herding cats. I'm sure it's not. Honest, could it be? But he does such a profoundly great job at it. So hats off to you, Ed Dickens, and thank you so much for what it is that you gave us, just a piece of your time like that. We really appreciate sharing this with the rest of the modelers
And
out there.
thank you for
Yes.
all the people on the Union Pacific
Yes, thank you.
for
Thank
taking
you.
the time to do this. You know?
Daniel, you helped me film this interview. Thank you very much
That's
for
right,
running
I did.
camera.
You're welcome. Well, all I got to say about that interview was he presented himself in a professional manner, and he
Yes.
also just went into depth on his passion, not just for the job that he is holding as running the whole steam program, but actually his passion of reviving this old steam locomotive and displaying it out to maybe show those who aren't train oriented and show them this is what used to run the rails before the diesels came in the 1930s,
Yeah.
40s. Of course, 25 of these were built for Union Pacific during World War II. That was also another reason why these machines were built, because of all the traffic, of the moving of the troops, the supplies, the goods, and all of that through the Sherman Hill Range in Wyoming, where these engines did roam.
Absolutely. I don't know how to end it better than that, but yeah, rock and roll. What a celebration it was in St. Louis for us to be able to do this. Now, I want to say that I've got a shirt that Denny Yelsma at Yelsma Graphics
That's
made
nice.
Oh, that's
for
cool.
That's
Steve
very cool.
Mantia
Nice.
and his electric company.
Nice.
This is called Target Electric Company, Steve. And Denny did an outstanding job stitching out this work shirt
did.
for you with your name on it and his logo on it. He took it right off your truck, off the photograph, and was able to print that.
That's right.
So anybody out there that might want corporate or uniforms for their folks,
That's pretty cool.
You know what he should have done?
this is a great way to brand your company, is with one of Denny's works of art and have all of your employees wearing something like this. I just wanted to throw that out there because we like Denny and we love seeing him succeed in this hobby.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because he's done so much for us. Steve, can we please give this to you?
We're now presenting the shirt.
Thank you very much, Denny. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Denny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it
Ken,
sure
what I was
is.
just going to
That's
say
very
was,
cool.
why doesn't Denny stitch on the back, I buy trains, please call my phone number
That's
here.
a good idea, just like the back of the truck.
And then again, you'll see a guy comes up and says, hey, you like trains? Well, come and follow me, right?
There you go. Next week on the show, we're going to talk about fire engines, fire stations, everything that's available on the market with regards to fire apparatus. I've got a beautiful model from East Coast Circuits, which has got a lot of LEDs in it. Here's the podcast crew we had tonight and all the folks in the basement. What a great group of people. Guys, this is the best hobby in the world with some of the best people in it. And I've got a lot of them sitting right around me tonight, and I love it. Thank you so much, guys, for helping out with tonight's show.
You're very
We're going to
welcome.
take our NCE Power Cab, and we're going to run some trains tonight. We've got a lot of guests
Oh,
that are
yeah.
going to want to run trains tonight. This is going to be a fun night, folks. So until next week, let's go run some trains.
See you later.
Hey, guys.
Okay, thumbnail. Nobody's picking up the big boys. What do you want to do?
No. I don't want to pick up a big boy.
Why don't we?
Thumbnail shot.
Daniel's still
How
holding
about like that?
it.
Why don't I?
Wait.
No.
Can we do it old school?
What?
Can we do a run by?
Let's just do a run by
Yeah,
with
let's
big
do a
boy.
run by.
Stand everybody like we
Like,
used to
put
do.
The
Josh's
thumbnail
big boy.
is for the beginning of the YouTube video. The
The
thumbnail.
thumbnail's the
Okay.
one that shows.
So you want us standing around the train layout?
I think so.
Running a big boy.
Why not? Just put it up there as static.
That sounds like extra work. Can we just do this?
Okay.
You want to
Everybody-
just be mesmerized by this or what?
Yeah.
Or you just
we got
wanna wave?
enough on the table.
Yeah. All right. Everybody just stare.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to point? You're going to wave? What are we doing?
I don't know.
Yeah, you can point. You always do that. That's good. You point. And I'm just going to be like, wow.
I'll wait.
Here we go. Ready? Everybody smile? Teeth? We should have that.
Okay.
Okay, kill sound, kill two
15
cameras.
minutes.
Kill it.
We totally forgot.
We
to do
timed
that.
out perfect. What?